Hello YouTube. Got another repair on the bench today. This is a A1466 MacBook Air 13-inch. The original issue is the battery connector has been ripped off. Which is not good. So we should be able to turn this computer on and check it. Just trying to figure out which ticket it is, which number. Slot 5. It's a 2017 MacBook Air. Yeah, 2017. Great, so we're going to go ahead and pop it open because obviously we can't turn it on because the battery connector has been ripped off. So we're going to go ahead and take it apart. And take a look at the battery connector. Go ahead and pop the bottom cover off. Alright, that looks like all of the screws off the bottom. And sure enough, as you can see, the battery connector that is soldered, usually soldered to the logic board. Come on, camera. Forget my metal tweezers in here. Yep, you can see that there. It is still attached to the battery. That's not good. Oh, and what is that? Oh, looks like we got a little bit of liquid as well. Got some liquid here. Something on the flex down in here. Looks like we got a little liquid there. A little something there. Something down here. So I'm wondering if this board turns on. We're going to go ahead and remove the logic board out of the case. Okay, looks like we're going to play nice right now. If I turn the light down a little bit. So we're going to have a look at our JTAG area here. JTAG area looks a little dirty. Some spillage there. JTAG's got some green here. So this may have to go. We're going to go ahead and look around. This board's very hairy. Nothing that sticks out too bad. This is our camera IC and RAM. These are our memory modules. Nothing looks bad there. This board actually looks pretty clean. Just a few fuzzes here and there. No, what's this? What are you? What are you doing? Why? Look at you. You look crusty. Crusty as. Yeah, that's not good. We'll keep a note. Make a note of that one. Don't see anything else that sticks out as severely damaged. Now that capacitor there is part of, let's see, open up the board view. Scroll around here. So we're looking around the U7400 area. It's this big capacitor here. C7400 PP5VS5, yeah. That would definitely keep this computer from turning on. Yep. This could be shorting PP5VS5 to ground, and PP5VS5 is our 5 volts into our U7400. That's our VN. So if that is shorted to ground, this computer is definitely not going to run. So let's test it. Shall we? Should we? Doesn't matter. Should we just replace it? I'm just curious. I guess first of all, what we could do is we could pretend, since we looked and there's no active liquid damage, it's probably safe to power on this board. I mean, I've worked on plenty of boards that had PP5VS5 missing, and the worst thing that'll happen is it won't turn on. So it's not gonna destroy anything as far as I know. Do a diode mode to ground on that cap. Yep. And PP5VS5 is shorted to ground. 1.1 ohms to ground on there. PP5VS5, so that definitely will not turn on. But let's see if what the current draw is on a board that is missing PP5VS5. Anyone take a guess what it is? So we're going to power it on. We got a green light on our green to a amber light on our MagSafe. And a MagSafe light, and we're drawing a 108 milliamps. So if you're missing PP5VS5, there's a possible reason, or if your board's drawing 108 milliamps, there's a possible reason why, because you're missing PP5VS5. Now we're going to do a quick little test. We're going to take our hot air and pull that cap off this board really quick and see if the board turns on. Because it's simply a bypass capacitor. Let's turn, no, we don't need to turn our air on, or suck fume extractor on for this. We're just going to pull this off real quick. We're going to blow this guy off the board really fast. We're not going to need him. We're going to substitute someone else. Okay. So he's gone. However, the reflection is not. Now we'll turn the fume extractor on. Don't want to inhale flux fumes. It's kind of dangerous bumping my microscope, my camera with the fume extractor. It could shut the camera off. Alright. As soon as I can find my soldering wick. Okay. Clean that off. Alright, wonderful. Now let's see if we still have a short on PP5ES5. If I remember correctly, an S5 power rail is the power rail just above G3 hot. So that's when it's on when the computer's asleep. Alright. Now let's test which pad. So the pin 1, which is closer to the chip, which is typical. We're going to turn on diode mode so you get the sound effects. And our short is gone. So our PP5ES5 power rail is no longer shorted. Now the real litmus test. So what happens to this little fan since we removed that capacitor and cleared our short? That looks like a fan spin. Alright. Excellent. Drawn 450 milliamps. This board is at least turning on. We're going to go ahead and shut it off. And we will remove our test DC board, and we're going to replace that capacitor. And we're also going to fix, sorry, fume extractor is going back on. We're also going to fix our battery connector, because we've got to be able to plug our MacBook in. Make it, it's the whole point of the laptop. It's mobile. This cannot be considered a laptop if it cannot run off a battery. We're going to have to get a new, fresh capacitor. Let's see. Plenty of viable donor boards. Happy to donate their capacitor to our cause. I can go ahead and remove this from the donor board without a microscope because it's so big. I'm blind Alright. Go ahead and do a little more flux here so we can shine up them joints. Make our new cap nice and shiny and happy. We'll take some IPA. We'll get our donor board out of the way. We don't need that anymore. Gently clean this area. Nice shiny new capacitor. That overhead light doesn't seem to make a difference. Now we're going to heat this area up and we're going to remove all these old pins from the old battery connector that are stuck on here. We're going to want this area nice and hot for when we put the new connector on. We're going to try to aim our air off the board because we don't want to melt our keyboard backlight connector. So these two pins here are ground. They're going to be the hard ones to get off. They take a lot of heat. Not sure where this solder came from. I wonder if somebody tried to solder that connector back on. I'm sorry, this last three are ground. I have to turn the board a little more here. I don't want to hit that connector. Alright, as you can see, we didn't melt the connector at all. We're going to go ahead and change tips on our soldering iron because we're going to clear out that old leaded solder so we can put in some fresh new lead-free, clear out the lead-free solder so we can put leaded. This will help facilitate the resoldering of our new connector. I'm just gently going over these. I'm not pushing down hard. Alright, I'd say that's good. Wow, that is really bleached out. I apologize for that. It's just sometimes my camera wants to cooperate when it comes to white balance and sometimes it doesn't. And looks like tonight is one of those nights where it does not. So I apologize for that. You know what I could do? I could exit, or I could go to Amscope software and try to adjust the white balance. Let me go to over. So it looks a little better. Not perfect, but anyway, we're gonna get this connector soldered on here. Alright, we're just gonna slop some solder on there because we're gonna heat this up. This is our new connector. We're gonna clean all this junk off of here. Put a little more flux. There's our connector. We're going to do the tried and true method. I've got some capped on tape. I'm going to tape the board down too. Really don't want this board flying around while I'm trying to solder this battery connector on. Bump it a little bit, it's okay. There we go. Board's nice and solid. Alright, let's try it this way now. Hopefully my hot air reaches over here. Let's see if we can get it to work this way. Close our drawers here. Try not to burn myself. Bump it a little bit. Whoops. All right. Call that good. Let's check it out. Got a little squirrely there for a minute. Trying to burn myself here. I want to make sure I did a good job, didn't melt the connector. Connector looks good. Solder joints look good. We'll go ahead and clean that up. See if I can move this again without triggering the camera to lock up. Looks like we're really straight too. That's good. Flip the board around here real quick. Clean things up here. Make sure we didn't lose anything on the other side since we got that really hot. I'm pretty sure that diode is not populated, but let's double check. If it is, we'll put it back. Nope. Looks like we didn't lose any components. Yep. It's always good to double check that to make sure you didn't lose anything. Go ahead and clean this board up a little more. Probably not necessary to ultrasonic this. I mean, if it just had a ripped battery connector and then that one capacitor, it'd be kind of a waste to UC this entire board. I think the J-tag is going to survive just fine. J-tag should be okay. And we didn't burn any of our other connectors, so that's good. Always wanted to try. We got a little bit of a puncture, like a little hole in that, but that won't affect it. Should be fine. I would say I'm happy with that. Oh, oops, can't even see. Not perfectly centered, but I'd say I'm happy with those solder joints. I mean, these three middle ones are, you know, have slightly less solder, but they still have fillets on them, and yeah, we can always check. I mean, we'll check when we plug the board in, so. try to get all these streaks off the board. I hate the the watermarks, the streaks. Cool. Yeah, probably clean that up a little more off camera just to make sure it looks nice. Doesn't have that worked on look. Yeah, we should probably clean the inside of the connector with some IPA as well. That's a good idea. To our nice new connector. Look at that. Open up this MacBook. And plug in my external SSD and fire away here. See? So here's our 2017 MacBook Air. It's charging just fine. So it stayed at 1% for a while, and then it the current went up, and currently it's sitting at 1.5 amps. So we're using 30 watts, about 30 watts of power to charge. So the charging circuit's fine. I guess it was just me being impatient, but we'll let it run for a minute and show you that it's charging. So right now, oops, the cursor is like right over the charge symbol. So let me get that in focus. So we're at 41%. So we'll let it charge, sitting at 3 amps now, so using 55 watts to charge. So we'll just sit here and let it charge for a few minutes. Let it calculate. It's going to calculate 1.5 hours until, or 2 hours until full. Power source, power adapter. Oh, we jumped up to 43% already. So it is charging. It's charging normal. It's working fine. I may do an SMC reset on it anyway, just to be sure. I'm going to go ahead and mute for a minute and let it charge. See if we can get it up past like 55%. And I'll be right back. Right now, 55%. So as you can see, the battery is in fact charging. We are now, I don't know how to hold this to get it to focus, 56%. So this laptop is fixed. Anyway, that's the end of this video. I want to thank you for watching. Have a good night. See you in the next one.